fans, Superman versus Godzilla. If you're interested in power ranking, fantasy fight content, you're probably answering this question by typing several paragraphs in the comments section. Now, if you were to pose this question to an average person, you'd likely get a shrug or a short answer. Superman because he's stronger. Godzilla wins because he's Godzilla. That's fine, because to each their own. These niche discussions are not for everyone. Most Godzilla Superman fans are completely uninterested in the who wins debates. But these hypothetical fights are popular for a reason. It's because they're fun. Always remember, when having these discussions, it's okay to take these things seriously, just don't take them personally. In the upcoming comic book event of a lifetime, DC Comics is about to go to war against the Monsterverse. Godzilla and Kong will face off against Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and a universe of superpowered threats. According to Entertainment Exclusive, one great thing about Godzilla is that Godzilla is not a villain, but not quite a hero either. Godzilla is about restoring balance and the order of nature. So when Godzilla ends up in this world with metahumans and superheroes and supervillains, things are upset. So that's going to make Godzilla want to do what Godzilla does, which is create order. There will be more monsters, I'm not allowed to say which, but Kong and Godzilla are not the only two giant monsters that the Justice League is going to have to face. Things are going to get crazy. Upon entering the DC universe, which is already infamous for annual crisis events, Godzilla immediately senses how broken it is. But maintaining balance on a single planet is hard enough for Godzilla. Restoring order to an entire universe requires a massive power-up. At this point, the question isn't whether Godzilla is strong enough to fight Superman, it's how much Godzilla, Kong, and the Monsterverse will have to bulk up to last longer than a minute. That's what she said. Fiction is full of characters getting stronger, receiving upgrades, and learning new powers, abilities throughout the story. Godzilla is mighty in his own right, but even the most powerful Godzilla, including the one that fought Marvel's superheroes, doesn't fare well against Superman's weakest comic book variants. Before we get carried away, let's not forget this inescapable truth. These characters are powerful because the plot calls for it. Wow. We all know this, and at times it's inconvenient to be reminded of this fact because we know that we're just having fun and it's usually invoked in bad faith. Imagine spending hours on building your case, you've done the research, you've submitted screen grabs, empirical feats, source material, scans, etc. Only for someone to ignore all that and just respond with, that only happened because the writer wrote it that way. Hey, remember when I said don't take things personally? Yeah, this is one of those times. The plot calls for it is a crucial point because nobody in the Monsterverse comes close to rivaling the likes of Superman. As of right now, it seems like the events of this story will be non-canon, which means we don't have to trip over ourselves trying to rationalize how Kong went from being a city-destroying titan to duking it out with planet-busting superheroes, to showing up in future Monsterverse projects with significantly nerfed feats. The downside to this comic miniseries being non-canon is, well, we won't be seeing Godzilla in the upcoming DC film slate anytime soon. For Monsterverse Godzilla to fight Superman, he needs to bulk up. Like, significantly. But what if he doesn't? What if this DC MV Godzilla doesn't do anything special besides ruffling Superman's cape? well, it'd be a letdown for sure. But if the only noteworthy thing this Godzilla does is hurt Superman or break Green Lantern's light constructs, then we'd rely heavily on power scaling. But Tom, what is power scaling? In the context of a fantasy debate, power scaling is used to determine the relative strength or power levels of fictional characters. Suppose there's a lack of empirical feats. Power scaling helps us gauge a character by comparing them to other previously established strong or weak characters. If all this Godzilla does is stand there as Superman flies up to strike him with a planet-busting punch, only to break his fist on Godzilla's perfectly smug face, then that means this Godzilla is stupendously strong. But being a threat to Superman isn't enough. For Godzilla to bring balance to the DC universe, planet-busting strength coupled with invulnerability is not going to cut it. There are incredibly powerful entities in the DC universe that completely dwarf Superman. I mean, Superman isn't even the most powerful superhero on Earth. The Flash, Dr. Fate, Martian Manhunter, and the Spectre, just to name a few, are demonstrably more powerful than Superman, and even they can't fix the DC universe. We've seen nigh omnipotent characters like Ion try to save this dumpster fire of a universe only to fail spectacularly.
Because the plot calls for it.
Besides, it doesn't seem like Godzilla will succeed. However, if he's so strong that it takes the entire Justice League to rein him in, then the hierarchy of power in the Godzilla pantheon is about to change. I'm going to need to update my Godzilla power ranking tier list. wait a minute. Is that Godzilla fighting a giant mecha Batman? Mothra be thy name. This comic is going to be fire. Atomic fire. Alright, well, hey, thanks for visiting Kaijutopia. I'm Tom, and I'll destroy you all utterly later.